Transmigrated into the vicious ex-wife of a childless CEO, the system told me not to break character. I patted my chest and said, when I handle things, you can just, rest assured. Knowing that Bruce Hudson was a workaholic, I deliberately ordered him to leave work on time every day to cook for me. You must eat with me. His eyes flickered slightly. I noticed he often had trouble sleeping. I replaced his nightly sleeping pills with vitamins and handed him the warm milk I hadn't finished. Drink it, not a single drop left. He looked at me, his Adam's apple bobbing. I pressed my advantage. He hated physical contact, so I deliberately squeezed into the same bed with him. We're legally married. Let me touch your abs. Later, the innocent female lead finally began to heal him. I decided to keep my achievements hidden and quietly slipped away overnight. But that night, I stared at the 2 lines in my hand, lost in thought. I urgently called out to the system, "Did you set me up?" The system responded, "Hello, host, I am 006. Right now, we're following the script of the vicious ex-wife." Wow, my wish came true. I finally transmigrated into a book. The system ran through the plot for me. I am Sherry, the arranged marriage partner of the male lead, Bruce Hudson, from a family of equal social status. After my family's fortunes declined, the Smith family offered me to the wealthy and powerful Hudson family as a form of debt repayment, nothing more, because Bruce Hudson had an accident and can no longer have children. Most importantly, I heard he has all sorts of issues and is hard to approach. Even the daughters of ordinary families are unwilling to marry him. Today is the 2nd day of our marriage. The original owner disliked Bruce Hudson, so the 2 of them did not share a room. The system said that my task is to maintain the villainous persona, make him develop a dislike for me and start hating any female creature. When the time is right, my identity as the fake heiress will be exposed, and the true female lead, Susan Smith, the gentle and resilient real heiress who is also Bruce Hudson's secretary, will heal him and, with her innate fertility, bring children to the childless male lead. As for me, the malicious ex-wife who foolishly divorced, I can only survive by eating garbage. The system promptly adds, "Don't worry, you won't actually have to eat garbage. Once the task is completed, you can go home and receive a 10 million bonus. Is there a problem?" Of course not. I sprang up like a carp leaping out of water. It was 10 million yuan, after all, with a monthly salary of just 3,000 yuan after graduating from university. I couldn't earn that much even if I started working from the Ming Dynasty, baby. What do you think we should do next? I'll follow your lead. Bruce Hudson is a workaholic. Find a way to sabotage his project. No problem. When I handle things, you can just relax. Rest assured. Looking at the time, it's almost 6 o'clock. I immediately called Bruce Hudson. "Hello." The voice on the other end of the line was deep and magnetic, making anyone who heard it want to get pregnant. I cleared my throat and said confidently, "Bruce Hudson, I'm hungry." He paused for a moment and said, "Ask the housekeeper to cook for you." "No, I want to eat what you make. If you don't agree, I'll go to your company and make a scene." Crying, throwing a tantrum and threatening to hang myself, so everyone can see how you bully your newlywed wife. "Don't, then come back quickly. I'll be waiting for you, hubby." Bruce Hudson's breath hitched, and he quickly hung up the phone. I proudly boasted to the system, "Aren't I clever? By making him come back to cook, he won't be able to work, and over time, the project will naturally fall apart." That's what you say, but something still feels off. Bruce Hudson was really obedient. He came home at 6:30 sharp. I lifted my chin and commanded him, "I want sweet and sour ribs, cola chicken wings, and scrambled eggs with tomatoes loaded with sugar." He took off his coat and glanced at me with lowered eyes. The young master must have always been waited on by others, yet here I was, giving him orders. He must really hate me now, so I immediately put my hands on my hips and said, "Why are you staring at me? Hurry up and cook. Are you trying to starve me to death? If I die, you won't have a wife anymore." He pursed his lips, the tips of his ears slightly red, probably from anger, but he still let out a low and rolled up his sleeves before walking into the kitchen. I lean against the door to supervise the work, and whenever he looks up at me, I glare back at him. He's probably cursing me in his mind. The hatred value must be skyrocketing. System, he actually knows how to cook. Bruce Hudson, though a bit unfamiliar, proceeded in an orderly manner. The faucet ran with a splashing sound, the ribs were blanched, and eggs were cracked against the edge of the bowl. The warm yellow light outlined his focused profile. With all the clattering, there was a somewhat lively atmosphere. Yes, he has lived alone since childhood. Because of his unpleasant personality, his parents later had another child and gave all their affection to his younger brother, completely neglecting him. Later, when it was discovered that he was infertile, he was completely removed from the line of succession. Now, Bruce Hudson is just working like a beast of burden in the company, paving the way for his younger brother. No wonder a bankrupt fake heiress like me can climb the social ladder, so the male lead is completely overlooked after all. Come to think of it, he's quite pitiful. Father doesn't love him, mother doesn't care for him, and there's a detestable, malicious ex-wife, all of which makes the female lead's healing effect on him even more pronounced. That's true, after all, I'm just an NPC meant to drive the plot forward. The system says Bruce Hudson has been accustomed to eating alone since childhood and prefers solitude, then I'll just go against his wishes. When the 3 dishes and 1 soup were placed on the dining table, he turned around to leave. I immediately grabbed his hand. Stay and eat with me. Bruce Hudson's eyes flickered slightly. This is definitely a symbol of success, so I intensified my efforts, making him serve me food, watch me eat, and urging him to eat as well. After all, eating with someone you dislike must feel really disgusting, but it was clearly made very delicious. Bruce Hudson, however, stared blankly at the food in his bowl. I immediately picked up a rib with scallions on it and placed it in front of him. If you don't like scallions, you can have this. He silently brought it to his mouth, then frowned again. See, system, who knows how much he resents me in his heart. So when he swallowed, I called out to him, Bruce Hudson, I am your wife now. I married you to enjoy a good life. Starting today, you must finish work on time every day to cook for me. Understand, after eating, no work is allowed. You must accompany me for walks, watch variety shows and short dramas with me. This is what a qualified husband does. I'm lying to him. I want to make him indulge in pleasure and neglect his duties. Let's see how he can still discuss projects in the future. Bruce Hudson looked up, his eyes dark and unfathomable. He nodded. When going upstairs to sleep at night, I ran into the butler. He smiled and sighed. It's been a long time since the young master has smiled like this. What an old-fashioned cliché. How can the bitter-gourd male lead possibly smile? My mission is to make him disgusted. I heard he has mysophobia, so I pushed my luck and made him peel grapes and feed them into my mouth. Watching his fingers covered in juice stains, I was absolutely delighted, boasting to the system, he must be cursing me to death behind my back, right? Then instructing Bruce Hudson, help me wipe my hands. Seeing the smirk on my face, he froze for a moment, but still took out a wet wipe and carefully cleaned each of my fingers one by one. Under the light, his eyelashes trembled slightly. The system said the male lead's personality is honest and unable to refuse others. Parents don't like it. No wonder I've been dancing all over his triggers, and he's still so calm. One night, I was thirsty and went downstairs to drink water. At the corner of the stairs, I ran into Bruce Hudson. He stood there frozen. The system notified me, he has night blindness and can't see well in the dark. Well, isn't this just great? Earlier when I went downstairs and saw so many lights on, I thought it was wasteful and asked the butler to turn them all off. It's true that poor people shouldn't write CEO novels. Once you start, you won't make a sound. Perfect. Didn't you say he hates being touched by others? I hurried downstairs with quick, light steps. Bruce Hudson was wearing loungewear. His hair softly falling over his forehead, hands resting on the railing, looking like a well-behaved child. I asked knowingly, honey, what are you doing here? Hearing my voice, he seemed to relax. I wanted to go downstairs for some ice water. Me too. I almost bit my own tongue off, remembering that I was here to annoy him, so I immediately grabbed his arm. Then I'll go with you. Bruce Hudson's body stiffened. Sure enough, he hates me again. Hee. I slid my hand down and directly held his hand. That hand was broad and warm, with a slight sweat in the palm, yet it didn't dare to hold mine back. I leaned in closer to him again. Honey, why aren't you holding my hand? Do you hate me? As soon as the words fell, Bruce Hudson suddenly tightened his fingers, his face flushing unnaturally red. He's so angry he's turning red. Feeling smug, I took him and headed downstairs, thinking he wanted to drink ice water. How could I possibly let him have his way? So I poured a cup of warm water and handed it to him, saying sternly, "Who in their right mind drinks ice water late at night? Honey, you're not getting any younger, you need to take care of your health, understand? You'll regret it when your stomach starts hurting. If you get sick, who's going to make money for me to spend? So, you can only drink warm water. I'm absolutely terrible. Even controlling what water he drinks." Bruce Hudson gripped the cup tightly, his knuckles turning white and veins bulging. I urged him, "Hurry up and drink. After you finish, we'll go upstairs to sleep." He lowered his gaze, his eyes settling on me. I didn't know if someone with night blindness could see a person clearly from such a close distance. I just inexplicably feel that this atmosphere is quite warm. No, I came here to despise him, humiliate him, and put him down. Just as I was about to say something, Bruce Hudson raised his hand and slowly drank some water. After finishing, he even said thank you to me. "No, I need to step it up. I'm going to bring some things to his company and also pull off some creative stunts, building up my own arrogant and domineering persona." While cutting fruit, I accidentally cut my finger. The butler brought me the first aid kit. Just as I put it on, I caught sight of a large amount of astaxanthin out of the corner of my eye. I looked it up. This is a sleeping pill. Such a large dosage. Surprisingly, whose is this? The young master's. The butler told me that Bruce Hudson suffers from severe insomnia. To avoid affecting his daily life, he has to rely on medication. If his parents had visited that day, the medication dosage would have been increased even more. After hearing this, I inexplicably felt a pang of bitterness in my heart. Actually, Bruce Hudson hadn't done anything wrong. Had he worked diligently, had no bad habits, but was just not good with words and unable to have children. Is this some kind of fatal flaw? No, this is absolutely a huge advantage. Okay, the system chimed in at the right moment. "Host, are you feeling sorry for him?" I instantly sobered up. Not at all. The male lead belongs to the female lead. I know, to highlight my viciousness, so I bought vitamin tablets and replaced all his medicine with them. Doesn't he like to stay quietly? I insist on making him accompany me to lose weight in the villa, so everyone can watch. Sitting on the wiggle car, I look up at him fiercely and say, "Bruce Hudson, put some effort into it. You're supposed to pull me along, understand? If I gain weight, it's all your fault for not trying hard enough." After several laps, fine beads of sweat have already formed on his forehead. I'll work him to death, before going to bed. I appeared at his door holding a glass of warm milk I had only taken one sip from. "I can't finish this." "You drink it." The system said he hates drinking milk. Bruce Hudson looked at me, his eyes slightly red. I unnaturally averted my gaze. "What are you looking at? Do you want me to feed you?" "Not a single drop is allowed to remain." His eyes darkened, but he obediently took the cup. The moment our fingertips touched, it felt as if an electric current had passed through, and I quickly withdrew my hand. "From now on, any milk I can't finish will be yours." "Got it." He lowered his head and stared at the cup, his eyes seeming a bit misty. "System, did I bully him to tears?" The system sighed softly. "Bruce Hudson hates milk because he mistakenly drank the milk his mother prepared for his younger brother when he was a child and was severely scolded. Since then, he has never drunk it again." "I see. It's just a glass of milk. His family is so rich. Do they really lack it?" "You don't understand. This is more than just a glass of milk." "Then I really am bad," intentionally making him recall something sad. Thinking of this, I felt a bit sorry. I intended to snatch the cup away. Bruce Hudson, however, threw his head back and down the drink in one go, leaving me with nothing but a silent back. It seems my humiliation worked, because Bruce Hudson seems to be ignoring me now. Actually, it's not really a Cold War. It's just that recently, he has clearly become even more silent. Several times, he looked at me as if he wanted to speak, but then he stopped himself. The system reminded, it might be the protagonist's halo starting to take effect. Oh right, I almost forgot that Susan Smith, the true heiress, is still at his company, as Bruce Hudson's secretary. She is meticulous and considerate, a world of difference compared to me, the malicious wife. It's time to go to the company and assert my dominance. Without notifying Bruce Hudson, I contacted his assistant first. Assistant Peter answered the phone with great enthusiasm. "Mrs., it's all thanks to you. Ever since getting married, the boss has been leaving work on time every day. You have no idea. I finally have time to go home and spend time with my wife and kids. You might not know this, but in our circle, Mr. Hudson is known as the ultimate wife lover. If there's a contract that just can't be settled, they say it's better to ask you to whisper in his ear. After all, the boss cooking for you and walking the dog with you every day. It's famous how much he adores his wife. Something feels a bit off. Then I figured it out. Damn Bruce Hudson, this is setting me up for a fall, making others think I'm a very gentle person. But in reality, that's not the case. I'm too despicable, because I'm going to check on the company right now. I put on my sunglasses and headed straight to the CEO's office in my high heels. As soon as the elevator doors opened, I saw Bruce Hudson standing with a girl wearing a blue shirt and a white fishtail skirt. This is the female lead, Susan Smith. She is indeed refreshingly elegant, and the two of them are a perfect match, both talented and attractive. You sound a bit jealous, host. Bruce Hudson seemed to notice my gaze and turned around in surprise. How did you get here? Of course. I'm here to break them up. With a seductive curve of my red lips, I lifted my chin and walked over to the executive chair. Sitting down gracefully, I swiftly kicked off my high heels and crossed my legs. I'm tired from standing, my feet are sore. Honey, give me a massage. The door hadn't been closed yet. Outside, a crowd of onlookers pretended to be busy with work, but their eyes were practically drifting inside. Bruce Hudson pursed his lips. We have a professional masseuse at home. How do you have time to come to me? I pouted arrogantly. So what? Can't I come when you're at work? No. He took a step closer, lowering his gaze. I'm just afraid you'll get tired. Perfect timing then. Come over and massage my calves to make me feel comfortable. Bruce Hudson's ears instantly turned red. He stood in place, his gaze shifting awkwardly from my face to my toes, then quickly darting away. The entire office was terrifyingly quiet. I gloated. See, system. I made him do this in front of Susan Smith. He must hate me to death. Not sure. Let me take another look. Bruce Hudson's hand hanging by his side clenched tightly, his eyes darkened, and his Adam's apple bobbed. No matter what, he is still a guy, and there is ultimately some disparity in physical strength between men and women. He won't hit me, will he? I cheered myself on. If he gets angry and pisses me off, then I'll just walk away all fluffy. Don't you love me anymore? Humph. You're not even willing to rub my feet. What's the use of having a husband anyway? Forget it. Then I'm leaving. As long as the Green Hills remain, there'll be no shortage of firewood. But who knew Bruce Hudson would suddenly crouch down and grab my ankle? The warmth from his palm made my body stiffen. He was a bit clumsy in his movements, but still needed with just the right amount of pressure. My whole body tensed up, and I could feel heat slowly rising, but my tone was still fierce. You're hurting me, Bruce Hudson. Are you even capable of this? He didn't say anything, but his touch became much gentler. From this angle, I could see his ears, flushed and almost translucent, and his smooth black hair, and a faint, unique scent that belonged only to him. It smelled rather pleasant. To maintain my persona, I gave him a stern warning. Bruce Hudson, you're a married man now. You need to keep your distance from other women. Understand? Otherwise, I'll get angry. He nodded gently, then brought a pair of slippers from the lounge and helped me put them on. Just at that moment, Susan Smith knocked on the office door. It only dawned on me later. Why would Bruce Hudson have women's slippers here? Could they have been prepared for the female lead? It's too boring here. I'll have the driver take you home. Bruce Hudson placed my high heels into a paper bag. Look, system. They think I'm bothering them and are already trying to shoo me away. System, wait a moment. Let me check the disgust value. It's malfunctioning and won't display. This broken machine. I'm going to report the programmer. I feel like causing a little trouble, but I still decided to quit while I was ahead, so I walked out with my head held high. The people in the secretariat immediately buried their heads, but the keyboards were clattering away, so I made a sudden turn and went back. Saw the chat history. Sisters. Who would have thought Mr. Hudson is so doting on his wife? The rumors are all true. I've already imagined a 100,000-word novel in my head, a high-he version. The E is silent. Not to mention, the CEO's wife is really good at training dogs. Bruce Hudson came back unusually late today. This is so abnormal. Damn it. He must have gone to spend time alone with the female lead. Even though I bear the title of the malicious ex-wife, as long as we're not divorced yet. He can't do this. I angrily pulled out the props I had just bought and drew out a leather whip. Training a dog, huh? I'm going to show off my skills too, let Bruce Hudson know how formidable I am. The moment the door opened, I raised my hand and swung it. I didn't even use much force, yet blood seeped from his shoulder. At that moment, a little girl shattered. I panicked and called out to the system. Did I use any points to exchange for some kind of strength pill? How come just a light touch made him bleed? Wait. I'll go check right away. Taking advantage of this gap, I quickly ran to Bruce Hudson's side, but I noticed his expression seemed a bit off. He even managed to give me a smile. Sorry, I had something to do and came back late today. Have you eaten? Have you gone for a walk? Do you want me to watch TV with you? Seeing him like this, all the difficult questions I had prepared got stuck in my throat. I instinctively wanted to touch his wound. Bruce Hudson turned his head away. Avoiding my gaze, his voice hoarse, I accidentally bumped into something. It's nothing. How could it be bruised like this? I stepped forward to take a closer look, but he gently pushed me away. Don't touch it. It's dirty. It's really nothing. The system is finally online, I found out, because he's been leaving work on time every day recently. Hudson's parents weren't happy and asked him to go to the old house. He said he's married now and wants to focus on his family. Bruce Hudson's father got so angry he threw an ashtray at him, and he got grazed by the edge, so that's why he was hesitating earlier. He wanted me to go with him to the old house. This idiot, why didn't he just say so? Does he not know how to fight back when he's been wronged? Thinking about how his parents must have said many harsh words to him. A surge of anger rushed to the top of my head. I raised my voice. You just let others bully you like that. Only I am allowed to bully you in this world. No one else, understand? After saying that, I turned and left. Bruce Hudson froze in place and slumped onto the sofa in despair. I had previously hidden the medical kit in my own room. After retrieving it, I turned back and went downstairs. It seemed he hadn't expected me to return. Bruce Hudson's dim eyes suddenly lit up. I glared at him impatiently. Unbutton it. Let me see. Sherry, it's really not necessary. Is that an order? Are you disobeying me? He lowered his gaze and slowly reached out his hand. I'm impatient with how slow you're moving, I said, stepping between his legs to unbutton his clothes myself. If I wait for you to finish, the wound will have healed by then. He awkwardly averted his gaze. Really, I'm fine, don't cry. Who's crying? I'm just angry. But when the clothes were opened and I saw the deep, bone-exposing wound, my heart still trembled violently. Forcing myself to stay calm, I carefully cleaned, medicated, and bandaged him, only to discover several old whip scars on his back during the process. I don't understand why some parents would treat their own child this way. Bruce Hudson is clearly so well behaved. The system comforted me, because the crying child gets the candy, while the sensible child, aside from being sensible, gains nothing. A sour, bitter emotion nearly overwhelmed me. I cupped Bruce Hudson's face, gazing earnestly into his eyes. Bruce Hudson, we're married now. From this day forward, you can tell me anything. I'm your wife. If anyone dares to bully you, I'll definitely stand up for you. Bruce Hudson's eyes were red at the corners, clearly in a lot of pain from the wound. Are you feeling really bad? As soon as the words were spoken, he suddenly reached out and wrapped his arms around my waist. Resting his head against me, I was caught off guard by this sudden move. I just gently patted his back. I'm here, lying in bed. The system murmured quietly. Didn't we get the script for the vicious ex-wife? Why do I feel like you're actually trying to win him over? I instantly opened my eyes. Oh, right. I was supposed to humiliate him, punish him, make him hate me. Don't rush. I have my own pace. Just watch. I'm about to use my ultimate move. The system says it's looking forward to it. So after Bruce Hudson recovered from his injuries, I picked out shirt garters, a chest chain, a collar from the last batch of props. Playing so wild, you don't understand. He hates physical contact and is a neat freak with all his quirks, and from what I've observed, he's the traditional good guy type of male lead. If I insult him like that, he'll definitely kill me. What if he doesn't resist? What are you talking about? What decent man would agree to this? The door to Bruce Hudson's bedroom was left open. He had the phone on speaker, and I heard Susan Smith's voice. The opportunity had arrived. Making him lose face in front of someone he cares about will definitely double the effect. I immediately raised my voice. Honey, the handcuffs you like have arrived. Come try them on. Sure enough, he hung up the call in an instant. He looked at me in shock. Bruce Hudson must have just finished showering, exuding a fresh and clean aura all over. Most importantly, he was only wearing a towel wrapped around his waist. Water droplets slid down his firm chest muscles and disappeared into the depths of his waist and abdomen. I couldn't help but swallow hard. System, do you think he's deliberately trying to seduce me? It looks like you're quite enjoying it. In the moment I came back to my senses, Bruce Hudson had already laid down on the bed, as if afraid I would see everything. He covered up so tightly. Sherry, do you need something? Yes, what? With such beauty right in front of me, I kicked off my slippers, swiftly lifted the blanket, slipped in, and hugged him tightly. Suddenly facing each other, I could clearly see the faint little mole on the bridge of his nose, our breaths tangled tightly together, his eyes darting around nervously. I took the chance to rest his arm under my neck and said confidently, Bruce Hudson, I'm afraid of the dark. From now on, you have to sleep with me. As I spoke, I draped both my legs over him and casually pulled out a chain to fasten it. The icy touch made his body instantly tense up. His face was completely flushed, probably from anger. He was already starting to ask the guest to leave. Sherry, this isn't appropriate. What's not appropriate? We're legally married. I reached out directly. Let me feel your abs. My hands wandered over his body without hesitation. After seeing so many digital idols, this was the first time I touched the real thing. How should I put it? It's a bit hard and a bit soft. I curiously poked it. Bruce Hudson grunted and grabbed my hand. Sherry, don't. I understand. When a man says no, he means yes. I took out the handcuffs and fastened him to the headboard, gleefully admiring his flustered expression. After all, he's a CEO in public, yet here he is being forced. It hurts. It hurts so much. No one told me that enjoying a beautiful sight would be so painful. So I then turned over and sat on his waist. Warm light flowed, outlining his tense jawline. Bruce Hudson's breathing was erratic, a faint blush spreading at the corners of his eyes, with turbulent emotions swirling in their depths. It makes one's imagination run wild. So I planted a kiss right on his lips. It felt soft. I flashed a triumphant smile. Bruce Hudson, why are you trembling? Do you find me annoying now? Do you hate me? Bruce Hudson seemed to be thinking. His gaze fell on the corner of my lips. He said, Sherry, I used to really hate it when others touched me, but now, it seems I don't mind it. What? Bruce Hudson sat up, wrapping one arm around my waist and the other around the back of my head. His breath drew near. He kissed me. I was stunned by his actions. Shouldn't he find me disgusting? As expected, Bruce Hudson just touched me and then left. He seemed to be pondering something. Then he cupped my face with both hands. Sherry, thank you. Thank me, what the hell? Before I could even think. Bruce Hudson held me in his arms and lay down on the bed. Dense kisses fell continuously as he took my hands and placed them around his neck. He seemed to really enjoy this kind of intimacy. Several times I tried to push him away, but he grabbed me back again. My consciousness grew hazy, Bruce Hudson's presence overwhelming all my senses. As our lips and tongues intertwined, both of us started to lose control. It wasn't until I felt something unusual that I finally realized what was happening. At this moment, tears were already welling up in the corners of my eyes, unsure if they stemmed from the pain of the first time or the overwhelming surge of emotions. Bruce Hudson lowered his head and kissed them away, his movements gentle. Be good, I'll be gentle. If it hurts, just hold me tight. I bit his shoulder, my voice trembling with tears. Bruce Hudson, you jerk, get out now. Instead of pulling away, he held me even tighter. I'm sorry, but now, I'm afraid I can't. At some point, the lights had gone out. In the darkness, all senses were magnified infinitely. The world was shaking, consciousness ebbing and flowing. A fine tremor ran up from my tailbone, making my toes curl. In the end, all I knew was that Bruce Hudson carried me to the bathroom, washed me, and then brought me out, but I truly didn't have the strength to open my eyes and fell asleep. When I woke up the next day, Bruce Hudson is gone. I feel a bit annoyed. I only meant to bully him, so how did it end up like this? System, you really have an incredible lack of awareness, don't you? What do you think? Baby, you always closed the door before, but yesterday you didn't. And you deliberately didn't wear clothes after showering, intentionally showing off your chest and abs. Don't you think there's something wrong with that? I thought for a moment. I slapped my thigh hard. Bruce Hudson is so cunning. Is he planning to seduce me with his good looks, then suddenly divorce me after I fall for him, catching me off guard? The system was speechless. I quickly got up from the bed. What's his current level of disgust toward me? Has the malfunction been fixed yet? The system paused for a moment. Well, no, it hasn't been fixed. Then it gave me an idea. How about this? Why don't you take advantage of him as much as possible, pretend to be completely in the dark, watch him act all affectionate, while in reality, you see right through him? What a game of double agents. 6. Let's do it just like that. Today, Bruce Hudson came back 10 minutes earlier than usual. I was curled up on the sofa eating an orange. He didn't say anything, just naturally knelt on one knee against the edge of the sofa, leaned down, and cupped my face. Kissed him several times, so sweet. It feels like ever since that moment of passion, Bruce Hudson has become a completely different person, except for the things I previously ordered him to do. He has even started taking the initiative to message me. He even started inquiring about my schedule. When I followed the plot and went out with other friends, he would personally drive me there and back, quietly waiting to go home together. He became especially greedy for physical intimacy. Holding my hand while reading documents, keeping his knee pressed against mine during meals, and always kissing me before bed. His kissing skills were clumsy yet persistent, only letting go when I was nearly out of breath. The system said he's not good with words, but every night he says so many flirtatious things that even I, LSP, blush. We fooled around for a long time again. Holding my sore waist, I asked the system, Little Six, why do I feel things aren't quite the same as you said? There was a moment of silence. The system finally replied to me, Don't rush, I have my own pace. Days passed by like flowing water, and I felt I had gained quite a bit of weight. When I was about to start losing weight, the system spoke up, Important plot point incoming, your identity as the fake daughter is about to be exposed. The day has finally arrived, yet I feel something strange in my heart. Bruce Hudson is making breakfast for me. He places the sandwich in front of me, pinches my cheek, and says, What are you thinking about? Maybe I'm thinking my storyline is almost over, and I'm about to be written off. As expected, in the afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. Smith brought Susan Smith to Bruce Hudson's villa. When the paternity test was placed in front of me, I perfectly feigned a look of shock, my fingertips trembling as they touched those few thin pages. Then I staggered back, only to bump into Bruce Hudson's timely outstretched arms. Mrs. Smith was taken aback for a moment, saying that I had been occupying Susan Smith's place all these years. The life I have now should have been hers all along. If there hadn't been a mix-up, our Susan Smith would be the one married to Bruce Hudson now. She wiped the corners of her eyes. Bruce Hudson, however, furrowed his brow and tightened his fingers. I've read 800 novels with this kind of mistaken identity plot, so I totally get it. He's probably thinking that if it weren't for me, Susan Smith, the hard-working and ambitious true heiress, should have been his wife. My appearance caused the two of them to miss each other. What follows is the fake heiress causing trouble, the male lead getting fed up, ending in divorce, and finally the reunion of the male and female leads. So, Bruce Hudson spoke up, Can I have a private word with Susan Smith? In the garden, the sunlight was just right. Some petals fell from above, landing right in front of the two of them. The atmosphere was almost too perfect. I can't hear what they're saying. I only see that Bruce Hudson's expression isn't very good. My stomach suddenly started to churn with acid. Just as he suddenly turned to look in my direction, I bent over and threw up. Bruce Hudson quickly reacted and hurried over to my side. Help me inside and get me some water, then politely asked Mr. and Mrs. Smith to leave. He said to me, Sherry, don't be afraid. You will always be my wife, in this life, the next life, and the life after that. The system spoke up, You can't sleep, I want to turn over, but Bruce Hudson's arm is tightly wrapped around my waist. Are you thinking that Bruce Hudson isn't as bad as you thought? Host, after completing the divorce plot, you will receive 10 million and can go home. You don't belong in this world and will have to leave sooner or later. Yes, I absolutely love money. Everything I do is to earn the bonus and then go back to a life of leisure. So I gently pried Bruce Hudson's hand away, then I started avoiding him. He came back to cook for me, and after taking a couple of bites, I said I was too tired and went back to my room. He wanted to take me to walk the dog in the neighborhood, but I said I didn't want to exercise since I had already lost weight. Even when he brought me gifts, I just gave a perfunctory smile and tossed them aside. I had none of the excitement I used to have. After all, I can't take anything from this world with me. The Smith family is hosting a recognition banquet and invited us, but he declined on my behalf. I insisted on going against his wishes, so he had no choice but to bring me along. In the car, I wasn't as chatty as before, constantly talking to him. Instead, I was silent. When he tried to get close to me, I rolled down the window. The wind was strong, and his words were blown away. I prepared a black card for Susan Smith. Bruce Hudson gave it to me, but it's ultimately hers anyway. Bruce Hudson stared at the card, his expression flickering slightly, but in the end, he said nothing. I found Susan Smith and whispered quietly, "Actually, I don't have any feelings for Bruce Hudson. Please don't misunderstand. It's just a business marriage. He doesn't like my type. He prefers gentle little white flowers like you." Susan Smith looked at me with an indescribable expression. I turned around and saw Bruce Hudson beside the rockery. To be honest, Bruce Hudson is really quite handsome. He used to be so rigid and proper, but now he has a strong husbandly charm and is full of charisma. Unfortunately, the male lead will never belong to the female supporting character. He was just pulled aside by the Smiths' parents, and I don't know what they were talking about. I suppose they were probably discussing how to divorce me and how to marry Susan Smith. Right, how melodramatic. This plot. My eyes feel a bit sore, probably because I was exposed to too much wind in the car earlier. Shall we go home? He reached out to hold my hand. I subtly dodged his touch. I want to stay and play a bit longer. Why don't you go keep Susan Smith company, Bruce Hudson? I'm not sure which part of what I said made him uncomfortable. Bruce Hudson furrowed his brow. "Sherry, you've been acting strange lately. Why aren't you calling me darling anymore? That was before." To complete the task, I ordered him around, but now it's different. The story is nearing its end. No need anymore. You're overthinking it. Calling me husband in public would make people laugh. Bruce Hudson twitched the corner of his mouth, as if giving a bitter smile. But he quickly turned his gaze to me. "What were you talking about with Susan Smith?" "Nothing." He would find out soon enough. As I walked past him, he suddenly grabbed my hand, lowered his gaze, the corners of his eyes reddening. "Sherry, do you hate me now?" Seeing the timing was right, the next day, while he was away, I started drafting the divorce agreement. Then I discussed it with the system. "I've done too many bad things. Can you not make me torment Bruce Hudson anymore? Can you set me up to die in a plane crash so he becomes a widower?" The system paused for a moment. "If that's the case, it will be very painful, much more painful than eating garbage. Are you sure you want to do this for him?" "I'm sure." I didn't hesitate. After thinking for a moment, I left a letter. "Bruce Hudson, I actually hate you. I'm just a gold digger, and I'm going to take your money and live it up. Bye." That way, even if I die, he wouldn't feel sad either, because I deceived him. I only love money and don't like him at all. It's because I'm so malicious that he can be healed by the female lead and eventually end up with her. As it turned out, the luggage was all packed. I stared at the 2 lines, lost in thought. I urgently called out to the system. Wasn't he supposed to be infertile? How did I get pregnant? Hey, system, get out here. Did you set me up? I still decided to run, because the system isn't quite sure if there's an issue with the pregnancy test. It only told me that it has been reported for verification. It instructed me to proceed with the scheduled flight because it needs to return to headquarters to report on its work. After all, the bug has been around for so long, I can't find any of the male lead series of values for me. While waiting for the plane, I looked at the constantly scrolling big screen and suddenly felt that this scene was somewhat familiar. But I didn't think much of it. I just saw Susan Smith while waiting for the flight. She was also pulling a suitcase. This is really awkward. Although I transmigrated into the book, I have indeed occupied her identity for so long, and to have forced her to leave. How inappropriate is that? I quickly went over to apologize to her. "I'm sorry, you should be the one enjoying wealth and honor, but you ended up as Bruce Hudson's secretary. I took your parents, your marriage, and everything from you. Don't leave. Everyone likes you, and Bruce Hudson likes you too. I'm the one who should go." Who knew Susan Smith would widen her eyes? point at herself, and say, Bruce Hudson likes me. Are you sure you're not mistaken? Look, loving without realizing it. But it's okay, I'm here to help move their relationship forward. Yes, I've already brought up divorce with him. Don't worry, I won't come to ruin your relationship in the future. I wish you happiness. Susan Smith seemed almost amused with anger. I'm not leaving because of him. He gave me 1 billion all at once, and I plan to travel the world. Besides, with 1 billion, wouldn't it be better for me to support 10 male models? How could I possibly like a man who's been married? Huh? Susan Smith glanced at my suitcase and curled her lips. No way, you've been reborn and you're still going with the plane crash plot. What did you say? Realizing she had let it slip, Susan Smith quickly covered her mouth. But I sensed that things might not be as simple as I had imagined. Susan Smith couldn't resist my persistent pestering. She told me what she knew. She awakened when she entered Bruce Hudson's company, but she just couldn't see Bruce Hudson's appeal at all. More importantly, she found the plot utterly ridiculous. Why should he go to redeem a divorced man? Wow, others are either forcing love on poor students or being loved by gloomy male ghosts. How exciting. And she, on the other hand, is coveting a married man, and besides, which workhorse would actually like their boss? You like that type, you know, the rough and tough kind. Hee. Just as she was slacking off, she suddenly realized that the malicious female antagonist who had been trying to cause her trouble seemed to have forgotten about her. She rubbed her hands together and waited, with recording equipment and video ready at all times, but never got the chance to show off her skills. Do I need to treat you like this? The last time I was heard from was in the news, which reported a plane crash. Bruce Hudson was stunned for a long time after receiving the phone call, then he rushed out the door. In his previous life, he didn't believe you were dead and searched for you for a long time, but there was no trace of you, so, he died for love. What? I was incredulous. After he died, this world collapsed. Then I saw the fragments of your memories, bit by bit. Do you think you were bullying him? No, Sherry. You were redeeming and healing him. Later, I realized that dying for love was his way of resisting fate, just to restart the world. That way, I would still return to his side. No wonder the scene felt somewhat familiar just a moment ago. The cost of restarting is the erasure of memories. With everything returning to the starting point, but this time, Susan Smith was reborn. She wisely followed the routine at work, then frantically hoarded gold and bought stocks. She had long achieved financial freedom. Who would still want to be the true heiress sent off for a political marriage? Besides, Bruce Hudson and I gave her so much money, so she's ready to leave, allowing the two of us to rewrite the bad ending. That day, Bruce Hudson told me, you are who you are. He never compares you to anyone, even if you were fake. He only recognizes you as his beloved. At the same time, the system, which always had a heavy sense of death, let out a sharp shriek. Bruce Hudson's affection for you has maxed out. His aversion value is 0, so I was the only one being set up. I only found out the truth when I went back to report. Before he died, Bruce Hudson made a deal with the main god, trading the protagonist's luck for your happiness, health, and wealth in another world. Susan Smith let out a surprised sound. I thought he was bringing you back. Sherry was able to come here entirely because she happened to read this novel with the same name, and happened to wish that she could travel into the book to make money, and I happened to hear it. It can be said that everything was a coincidence of fate, but perhaps this is fate. Those who love each other will always reunite. My phone vibrated. I answered. Hearing Bruce Hudson's trembling voice, baby, don't you want me anymore? In that moment, it felt as if threads of fate were pulling us together. Holding my phone, I slowly turned around amidst the bustling crowd. Time seems to overlap at this moment. Not far away, Bruce Hudson stood right there. His trench coat was covered in the dust of travel. His gaze pierced through the surging crowd, landing precisely on me. We quietly gaze at each other, then share a knowing smile. In the car, I still can't help but ask, Bruce Hudson, do you really not think I'm bullying you? He tightens his grip on my hand. You know I'm tired from work, so you let me leave early. You're afraid I'll feel lonely, so you cook and eat with me. When I had night blindness, you took the initiative to be my eyes, and worried that I might get sick, you made me drink warm water. Also, concerned that medication might harm my body, you switched it to vitamins, took me out for exercise to burn off energy. And even had me drink milk to help me sleep. You even stood by my side when I was at my most vulnerable. Sherry, with you here, I finally feel cared for and seen, although we don't have the memories from our previous life yet, but I'll be honest, the reason I came to this world is to earn money and go back. I am very malicious. He fell silent for a moment, then slowly said, perhaps the way is a bit clumsy, but Sherry, the kindness in your bones cannot be hidden, otherwise. You could have cursed at me or used violence, you could have even more ways to humiliate me, but you didn't. Ah, what other ways are there then? You grew up in a happy family and have never experienced those dark times, so how could you possibly know? Bruce Hudson wrapped his arms around me. It was your sudden intrusion that brought sunlight into my barren world. I remembered something and instantly sat up straight. Why are there women's slippers in your office? He chuckled softly. Of course, they're prepared for you. Last time, the butler said you wanted to make a fruit platter to visit me, but ended up cutting your finger. After I found out, I put away all the sharp knives at home and redecorated the lounge just the way you like it. There are not only slippers but also clothes, makeup remover, and more, so that's how it is. After arriving home, the system told me that the main god was moved by steadfast love and allowed the two worlds to merge. You mean? My parents and friends will remain the same, of course, but you can also choose to go back. After all, there's a 10 million prize, but Bruce Hudson's bank card doesn't just have that much. He told me everything. He had already made preparations and cut ties with his parents. His savings over the years have been astonishingly large. I'm not a fool. I know how to choose for myself. By the way, am I really pregnant? You just ate too much. The system seemed to roll its eyes. You almost scared me to death. I thought sheer force had worked a miracle, but you can use points to restore Bruce Hudson's fertility. Can I choose to have him help me have children in the future? Let me look into it. So, while he still can't have children, we have been living a shameless life for a long time. My parents and friends all like Bruce Hudson very much. The familial and friendly bonds he lacked have now been fulfilled. Until the year he turned 30. The system brought some good news. If you want a child, you can swap bodies. But are you sure Bruce Hudson will agree? Bruce Hudson didn't hesitate. Agree. Later, he was pushed in to give birth. I held his hand and cried like a dog. Honey, hold on. There's hope. The chat log in the secretariat has been updated again. Mr. Hudson just called his wife. Honey, I'm stunned. Are the relationships in your circle this intense? Shocking. The wealthy CEO actually bottoms for love. Once again amazed at how the wife handles the dog training part, / later on, Bruce Hudson made his daughter angry. My daughter angrily told me she doesn't like her dad anymore. Upon hearing this, Bruce Hudson cried like a kettle that had gained sentience. Sweetie, how can you not like me? I'm the one who gave birth to you. My daughter was confused. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next. There is another similar story. Let's continue to see. I am the villainess in the book. I constantly use emotional manipulation to put down my devoted boyfriend, who works hard to earn money for my medical treatment. In the end, I cheated on him with a rich second-generation heir and dumped my boyfriend. Unfortunately, my boyfriend happens to be the male lead of this book. Later, he was redeemed by the female lead and built a business empire. In the end, he killed me to avenge the female lead and secure her happiness. At the company party, everyone in the audience was cheering and celebrating. Donald, the notorious playboy and second-generation rich heir from the sales department, walked onto the stage holding a large bouquet of Ecuadorian roses. Alyssa, I like you. Will you be my girlfriend? The audience immediately erupted in a chorus of teasing and cheers. Say yes. Say yes. I turned to look toward the door, where someone was casually glancing in our direction. Our eyes met. He lowered his head for a moment, then raised it again, stood up, and prepared to leave. I don't like you. I already have a boyfriend. Sorry. He would get jealous if he saw this. Without even glancing at the bouquet of roses, I turned and walked off the stage in my evening gown. For a moment, the entire room fell silent, with only the sound of my clicking high heels and my heartbeat echoing. I walked faster and faster, and under everyone's gaze, I grabbed Lucas's wrist. Lucas froze and didn't turn around. My work clothes are so dirty. Don't let your colleagues see, they'll laugh at you. But I smiled brightly, wrapped my arm around his, and said with a pout, but I dressed up so beautifully just for you. Don't you want to see me? Lucas sighed softly and turned around. He was wearing ill-fitting, rough, poor-quality work clothes with a few cement stains on them. His colleagues cast surprised glances, seemingly not expecting the famously beautiful department flower of the company to have such a man as her boyfriend. He stood there, his back straight, his voice tinged with helplessness. Let go first. My clothes are dirty. I simply burrowed into his embrace, looked up at him, and curved my lips into a smile. No, you're not dirty at all. I wrapped my arms around his waist and cooed, I sing so beautifully, won't you give me a hug? Stop fooling around, he said shyly, his cheeks flushing with embarrassment. I let go of him, bent sideways to kick off my high heels, then took 2 steps back before suddenly leaping up to wrap my arms around his neck. He froze for a moment, but instinctively scooped me up in a princess carry, afraid I might fall, then quickly carried me away from the party. Humph. A man who says one thing but means another. Lucas didn't stop until he reached the taxi with me in his arms. Then he said something seemingly out of nowhere. Why did you do that? In the past, Alyssa wouldn't even let Lucas come to the company to see her, let alone hug her in public. Aren't you my boyfriend? I replied. Lucas's eyelashes fluttered, and his eyes fixed on me as if a light had been lit. After a moment, he smiled and said, then I'll take you somewhere, girlfriend, in the suburbs. He had turned an old, dilapidated small space into a studio. As soon as the door opened, a musty smell wafted out. The room contained only an old, worn-out sofa, a small bed, and a rickety, broken-legged table. Lucas sat on the sofa, lit a cigarette, and the swirling smoke made it hard to see the expression on his face. Take a seat wherever you like. I glanced around and without hesitation walked over to sit beside him. Lucas's body stiffened, and he immediately moved the hand holding the cigarette away from me. After a moment's thought, he finally gave in and casually tossed it to the ground, crushing it under his foot. What do you want now? I have no money left, and I'm in debt. There's no need for you to keep scheming against me. At this point in the book, Lucas already knew that the original female lead didn't love him. She was only attached to his money. He went to her company to see her one last time, hoping for confirmation. When he saw her accepting the advances of a wealthy second-generation heir, he finally gave up on her completely. Coincidentally, that was the exact moment I transmigrated into the story. He and his partners have already successfully secured angel round funding privately. Although the company has just started, he definitely isn't short of money. He just doesn't want to spend any more money on the original owner, that scumbag woman. I don't want money, I miss you, I want to see you. Lucas raised an eyebrow. What kind of game are you playing this time? I don't like Donald, that guy from the cocktail party today. He keeps bothering me. Haven't you always wanted to marry a rich man? Even if he's rich, I need to be alive to spend the money. In my past life, I married a wealthy second-generation heir. He was abusive, kept a mistress, and when I asked for a divorce, he tied me up and gave me to his clients as a plaything. I need someone to help me get rid of him. And Lucas is the perfect candidate. No, Lucas, I just want to be with you steadily right now. I don't want your money, I want to help you together. Together, we can have a warm little home. I knelt down in front of him, looking up at him with infatuation. I often practice various expressions in front of the mirror, and I'm quite confident in this face of mine. However, Lucas darkened his gaze and unexpectedly rejected me. I don't need it, leave my house now. Just as he finished speaking, there came a knock sound from outside the door. A gentle female voice called out, Mr. Lucas, are you there? Lucas's eyes involuntarily turned cold, his disgust unconcealed. He remained seated, pretending not to hear. Then, his phone rang. He rejected the call, but the other party persisted in calling. The person outside the door clearly heard it too and kept knocking. I directly hung up the phone, walked over quickly, and pulled the door open. A girl was standing at the door. Hearing the door open, she was about to say something, but when she looked up and saw me, she froze. I looked her up and down. Not bad. This is the one who will later capture Lucas's heart. The female lead, Megan. She was wearing a tracksuit, with light makeup on her face. Under her red, tearful eyes were 2 streaks of dried tears, making her look pitiful. Her makeup is a bit smudged, and I was wearing a high-end fishtail gown bought with Lucas's salary. My hair styled in an elaborately designed French wave, with flawless makeup. In contrast, her body swayed slightly, and she unconsciously pursed her lips. Who are you? Where's Lucas? I'm Lucas's girlfriend. Didn't he tell you? Of course, Lucas had mentioned it, but she had never seen me before and thought it was just an excuse from Lucas. Little did she know he actually had a girlfriend. Megan's face turned pale, her eyes redder, looking as if she was about to shed little pearls. Lucas finally came out of the room. Megan, what are you doing here? The woman stared at him, her eyes full of grievance. There's an urgent matter with the project, and I couldn't reach you by phone, so I came to find you. I know, I'll head back right away. You go ahead first. Megan's tears finally couldn't be held back and fell, as she slowly sniffled, looking quite pitiful. I took a pack of tissues from my bag and handed it to her, comforting her. Don't cry, your makeup is all smudged. But she pushed me away fiercely and said angrily, mind your own business. Who asked for your fake sympathy? With that, she turned around and ran off crying. Me, all right, considering she's the one who will be cherished by Lucas in the future, the fiancé of a future internet tycoon. It's best not to offend her. I'll endure it. 3. I turned around and saw Lucas glaring at me with a displeased expression. Are you two sisters? Why are you being so polite? Oh, isn't she your colleague? How did you know? I pointed at the document in his hand. Here, this. Lucas tilted his head and sneered. I never expected you to understand this. It seems I've underestimated you before. All right, in the past, my image had always been that of a brainless mascot who only cared about perfumes, bags, clothes, and shoes, constantly competing with others, with all my thoughts focused on dressing up every day. I even had to beg my superiors to pass every performance review. Finally, Lucas lifted his eyelids and said, you can go now, leave now. Remembering my past life when Donald tied me up and gave me to clients as a plaything, I couldn't help but shudder. I'm not leaving. Donald is always waiting for me downstairs in the neighborhood, pestering me over and over. I want to stay here with you. Are you sure you can get used to it? Go stay at a hotel. I don't want to. I just want to stay at your place. I want to see you and touch you every day. I stared at him without saying a word, and just then, someone knocked on the door. Excuse me, is this Mr. Lucas's house? The sofa you ordered has arrived. I walked over to open the door, communicated with the delivery person, and they quickly brought in the sofa and installed it. Completely ignoring Lucas as if he were air, he was quite surprised. Did you buy this? Before he could finish speaking, another vendor poked his head in and asked, did you order the double bed? Then, within less than an hour, vendors continuously delivered a refrigerator, a table, and a water heater. Lucas was already numb, smoking on the balcony, finally done with all the work. I wanted to take a shower but realized I hadn't brought my pajamas. I didn't bring my pajamas, I said awkwardly, looking at him. Just wear this for now. I'm going out for a bit. Lucas directly pulled a basketball tank top from the wardrobe, handed it to me without daring to look at me, and left with a flushed face. I ran to the bathroom. When I came out, Lucas was on the sofa reading some documents. On the table were 2 meals and a new set of pajamas. Lucas only glanced at me before turning his head away, his ears suspiciously red. Frowning, he threw a hairdryer in front of me. Found it in the trash. Dry your hair and don't get my bed wet. With that, he opened a box of food on his own and started eating heartily. What a hypocrite. By the time I finished blow-drying my hair, Lucas had already gone to take a shower, leaving a plate of my favorite fragrant takoyaki omelet rice on the table. The soft, fluffy egg wrap enveloped the rich aroma of the rice, drizzled with sweet and tangy tomato sauce. Beside it were crispy on the outside, tender and juicy on the inside takoyaki balls, glazed with savory teriyaki sauce, and the one he just ate was clearly vegetable fried rice. Lucas came out after showering, and I was eating. When I looked up, I froze completely. His hair wasn't dried, and the steam was misty. I couldn't help but be mesmerized. Lucas curled his lips. Your chopsticks fell on the floor. I instinctively wanted to say, come, follow me inside. Oh my God, who can resist this? I immediately picked up the chopsticks. Didn't dare to look at him, wiped them with a tissue, and continued eating. At night, I slept in the new bed, while Lucas silently slept on the sofa, his 6 feet 2 inches frame looking extremely cramped. I turned my back to him, a sense of security washing over me. and I slept soundly through the night. The next morning, after greeting Lucas, I headed back to the company to work. But as soon as I arrived at the company entrance, Donald stopped me. His face was dark, his eyes fierce. And he gripped my wrist tightly as he demanded, "Where were you last night? What's wrong with you? Where I go is none of your business. Of course I'm with my boyfriend." His chest heaved violently as he pressed aggressively. "Is he even worthy? Am I, Donald, not better than him? If he's not worthy, then are you?" He gave up going to college for me and went to work on a construction site to support my education. His hands are covered in calluses, yet he buys me the best hand cream. Everything I have, clothes, bags, shoes, even the food and drinks I consume, are all bought by him. How is he not worthy? Even if there's a mismatch, it's me who isn't worthy of him. I let out a torrent of words, making Donald grind his teeth in frustration. "It's just money, right? I've got plenty of it. Break up with that poor guy, and I'll take care of you," Donald said arrogantly. "Stop bothering me with your self-righteous, self-pitying nonsense, even if he's poor. He's never been poorer than me. In my heart, no one compares to Lucas. If you keep harassing me, you psycho, watch out. My boyfriend will come and beat you up." Donald, however, scoffed. "Ha, your so-called boyfriend is probably busy mixing cement at some construction site. He doesn't have time to worry about you." With that, he tried to hug me. At that moment, an arm suddenly reached out from behind me, gripping Donald's wrist tightly. A clear, familiar voice rang out, "Sorry. But when it comes to my girlfriend, I have all the time in the world." Donald was in so much pain from the grip that he kept howling. Lucas, however, remained unmoved, his voice as cold as a 1,000-year-old glacier. "I'm warning you, don't mess with my girlfriend again, otherwise, this time it's your wrist that hurts. Next time, it might be your head," he said, tapping Donald on the head with his left hand. Donald's face turned pale with fear, and he nodded repeatedly. As soon as Lucas let go, he scrambled away in a panic. "I heard everything you just said. Are you sincere?" Lucas asked, looking at me. "Of course. What kind of person do you take me for? I'm not the kind of hypocrite who says one thing to your face and another behind your back," I retorted. "That's not necessarily true. Who knows what you're really thinking?" Lucas muttered under his breath. "I've decided to resign," I said, dropping the words before rushing off to pack my things, leaving Lucas alone, utterly bewildered. Back at the rental apartment, Lucas spoke up. "Have you thought about where you're going to work next?" I fiddled with the corner of my clothes. "I want to go to your company." "Sure, no problem," he agreed surprisingly quickly. "Your salary will be used to pay off your debt." Then what will I eat and drink? Where will I sleep at night?" "The company provides meals and accommodation." Lucas's ears turned red as he feigned seriousness. I followed Lucas to their company, which wasn't very large, with only about a dozen employees. Lucas gave me a brief tour, and some colleagues started teasing and gossiping. "Boss Lucas, is this your girlfriend? Why are you bringing your family to work?" Lucas couldn't suppress the upward curve of his lips, neither admitting nor denying. "Just treat her as a new colleague." All the colleagues were applauding in welcome, but Megan's face turned pale and her body stiffened. I secretly turned my head to see if Lucas would feel heartbroken at the sight, but when I turned, I met Lucas's eyes instead. He was beaming with joy, his gaze fixed intently on me. I coughed awkwardly and said, "What should I be working on?" "Come with me." As I followed Lucas away, I could hear the murmurs of my colleagues behind me. I never expected that Lucas's girlfriend would be so beautiful. This is the first time I've seen him smile like that. You can say that again. A handsome man paired with a beautiful woman. 2 words, eye candy. Suddenly, there was a thud, as if something had fallen to the ground. Several colleagues screamed, "Oh Megan, are you okay? Did you get hurt? Be careful not to cut your hands on the glass shards." The moment the elevator doors closed, I looked back. Megan's eyes narrowed into a venomous snake, staring intently at me, sweating bullets. "Bro," I felt a bit strange and slightly creeped out. Lucas didn't seem to like Megan, so why did they end up together in the end? So I boldly asked, "Have you noticed that Megan seems to like you?" "That's her business. I don't like her." I was speechless. "You don't like her? Then I'll fire her." "You don't like her at all. She's young, beautiful, full of energy, and dedicated." A spark of curiosity ignited within me, but Lucas raised an eyebrow. his face instantly turning cold. Alyssa, do you really want me to like her? How could that be? Of course not. I'm just afraid you'll regret it. I don't know how to do anything except spend your money. I'm willing. So what? I like it when you spend my money. I love seeing everything from head to toe, inside and out. But with my money, you heard me talking with Donald. With a ding, the elevator doors opened. Lucas's ears turned red again. He coughed lightly, pretending nothing had happened, and strode forward. Hurry up and keep up. You're not here to slack off. With Lucas's patient guidance, I quickly got familiar with the workflow. I got along better and better with my colleagues, and we occasionally had meals together. Only Megan never attended any gatherings where I was present. Recently, she landed a big deal and invited everyone to dinner in the evening. Company policy states that whoever signs the deal gets to choose the restaurant. Megan was chatting and laughing with her colleagues, casting a provocative and arrogant glance at me from across the crowd. I smiled and turned to Lucas, telling him that I was going shopping with my best friend tonight and wouldn't be joining the dinner. My best friend had just been transferred back from out of town, and we hadn't seen each other in a long time. Lucas didn't suspect anything and only reminded me to call him after shopping so he could pick me up. We went to our usual shopping district, and by the time we finished dinner, it was already 11 p.m. I called Lucas, but no one answered. My heart suddenly tightened, but I pretended as if nothing was wrong. After parting ways with my best friend, I returned home. The clock hand was already pointing to 12. I waited for him for a long time, but he never came back. Taking a deep breath, I called my colleague. Hey, Sarah, where's Lucas? Is he there? Oh, there's something urgent with the client. Lucas and Megan had to rush over there. I forced a smile. Oh, okay, I see. That's all then. Have fun. Haha, haha. All right, bye. A little green dot appeared on my Moments feed, so I tapped to see. Megan had posted a minute ago. Got a ride home from an incredibly handsome CEO. So happy. Hee hee. The accompanying picture was a handsome profile of a man that looked very familiar. I suddenly felt a bit bitter, and having had a bit to drink earlier in the evening, I fell into a deep sleep. An hour later, Lucas arrived home. I stood up to open the door for him, and the first thing he said was an apology. I'm sorry, something came up last minute. I tried calling you afterward, but you didn't answer. I messed up today. Then why didn't you answer the phone? I asked softly. You called me. Lucas took out his phone and looked at it, puzzled. Why is it on silent mode? Who touched your phone tonight? I sneered. Lucas thought for a moment. Megan said her phone ran out of battery, so she borrowed mine to make a call. You suspect her? He reached out and pulled me into his arms, patting my back to comfort me. All right, maybe I accidentally pressed it. I pretended to be casual. Weren't you quite cold to her before? Lucas patted my head and said with a smile. That's true. She used to bother me with some silly questions before, but later I realized she's actually quite capable at work and very hardworking. Did you take her home? She helped me drink with the client and got a bit drunk, so I gave her a ride on my way. It felt as if an invisible hand was gripping my throat. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. I still can't escape the original plot. Lucas will still fall for Megan, and I can't change the outcome. In an instant, I felt utterly disheartened and broke free from his embrace. I'm tired, let's rest. Just as I was about to turn and leave, Lucas grabbed my hand. Are you jealous? His beautiful peach blossom eyes blinked, the deep affection and anxiety in them undisguisedly revealed. I have no doubt about his sincerity at this moment. Lucas, would you like to sleep with me tonight? Lucas thought he had misheard and froze. What did you say? I stood on tiptoe and wrapped my arms around his neck again, my lips landing on his thin eyelids. His body trembled instantly. The next morning, we lingered together for a while longer, and he specifically granted me a day off so I wouldn't have to go to work. He even made a full table of breakfast. Perhaps I knew that by tomorrow morning, I wouldn't be here anymore. In the evening, I wouldn't be waiting for Lucas to come home and rushing over to give him a hug. Somehow, I felt a bit nostalgic for the smell of baked bread in the air. After breakfast, I packed all my clothes into the suitcase. To be honest, I don't have much of my own. Everything here was bought with Lucas's money. When Jane came to pick me up, she kept chattering on. Don't worry, our company has already nurtured many influencers. Stick with me, and I'll make sure you earn big money. I believe that. because in my previous life, it was thanks to her marketing that I gained 1 million followers overnight and my income skyrocketed. You don't have any leverage left in your boyfriend's hands, do you? Let me remind you. Once you become famous, if he exposes any scandalous dirt on you, it's all over, don't worry about it. In my previous life, I used him and then married Donald, eventually becoming the most popular female influencer online. Even then, he never mentioned it, and in this life, he definitely won't either. Before leaving, I left Lucas a note, we're breaking up, I'm leaving, and I'll pay back the money I owe you within a year. I wish you and Megan happiness together. I can't change the outcome, so I can only leave to protect myself. A light snow began to fall from the sky. I changed my phone number and left the city with Jane. Jane created a detailed marketing plan for me, and I earned a substantial income through beauty live streaming sales. I transferred all the money to Lucas, even though it meant nothing to him now. Over the course of that year, Lucas began to make a name for himself in the business world, becoming a highly sought-after rising star in the industry, and I also seized the opportunity to collaborate commercially with some seniors, so for a while, fans would come up to me on the street asking for photos. Soon after, all kinds of gossip and rumors about me started flying around. I looked at the Baidu entry and was momentarily speechless. Alyssa's plastic surgery history, Alyssa's sugar daddy. There were even photos from the last cocktail party where I was carried in a princess hold. The headline was explosive and attention-grabbing. Alyssa abandons her long-term boyfriend who earned money for her medical treatment. The comments section was filled with insults directed at me, and Jane was so furious she almost smashed the mouse. After calming down a bit, Jane rubbed her temples and said, "Forget it. Any publicity is good publicity. I got you a spot on a variety show. With your current popularity, you might be able to strike while the iron is hot and break into the entertainment industry." I was speechless, so sudden. "Don't even think about saying no. If you refuse, I'll hang myself right in front of you, and my restless ghost will haunt you forever." "Fine, I'll do it, okay." Jane patted my shoulder with satisfaction and left, taking me to the filming location early the next morning. The variety show filming went quite smoothly. Everyone was tactful and knew their boundaries, so no one brought up those news about me to my face. At most, they just glanced at me with a hint of curiosity about the gossip, but what I didn't expect was that after the filming, someone sent a luxurious afternoon tea for everyone, claiming it was from my boyfriend. The moment the array of dazzling, high-end packaging bags was brought in, they immediately caught everyone's attention. Jane looked bewildered. "Did you order this?" I innocently spread my hands. "I thought you were the one who ordered it." The staff were all whispering among themselves. Probably the rumor that I only got resources because I was being kept by a sugar daddy was about to spread like wildfire again. Jane's expression at that moment was even uglier than mine. "It seems this time I've jumped into the yellow river and can't wash myself clean. Should we eat?" I simply decided to give up and go with the flow, since it's already been delivered. It would be a waste not to eat. "Come with me." Jane pulled me to the corner. "Tell me the truth. When did you start dating someone behind my back? Who is this person? If I told you right now that I have no idea who this so-called boyfriend is, would you believe me?" "I don't believe a word of it. Are you joking at a time like this?" She stared at me, her eyes wide as saucers. "You really don't know?" I nodded obediently. Jane, however, was on high alert. Could it be from some crazy fan? Oh no. "Oh no, it's just the two of us here today. What if he has bad intentions? What if he leaks the news about you filming a variety show?" This show is still under wraps for now, and leaking it would mean paying a hefty penalty for breach of contract. Jane was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. Throughout the entire evening, she remained in a state of extreme vigilance, nervously staring at anyone who seemed the slightest bit suspicious. As soon as the director called it a wrap, she immediately gathered her things and hurried me away. She walked with swift, determined steps. However, as soon as we reached the parking lot, we saw a dark figure standing by the van, waving at us. Jane's psychological defenses were immediately shattered. She rushed in front of me and shielded me with her body. "Go quickly, I'll hold him back." Her voice was filled with a sense of fatal resolve. I've always been curious about who sent those things. As I saw that familiar figure in the distance walking closer and closer to me, 2 warm drops of liquid involuntarily streamed from my eyes. Jane was so anxious she was almost in tears. "You need to leave quickly, Alyssa." Lucas walked up to Jane, and seeing her protective stance like a mother hen, he smiled and gently extended his right hand. "Hello, I'm Lucas, CEO of SC Group." Jane's mouth dropped open wide enough to fit an egg, and she quickly shook his hand. Feeling incredibly honored and as excited as if she had met the god of wealth. "Hello, hello, I've long heard of your great reputation. Thank you very much for your company's support in allowing Alyssa to participate in this program." "No need to thank me, it's what a boyfriend should do." Lucas's immediate follow-up left Jane completely stunned. She mechanically turned to look at me, her gaze vacant. "You told me you didn't have a boyfriend, didn't you?" I wanted to say that I really didn't. But for some reason, looking at the faint smile on Lucas's lips, I felt inexplicably sad. The words of denial were on the tip of my tongue, yet I couldn't bring myself to say them. "She's been upset with me lately. Sorry to trouble you." Jane seemed to be floating on a cloud of flattery, and by the time she left, her steps were unsteady. The empty parking lot was left with just the two of us. Lucas walked toward a car first, took a few steps, then turned back to look at me. "Follow me." It wasn't until I got in the car that I noticed Megan was sitting in the back. It had been 2 years since I last saw her, and her dark circles had gotten even worse. As soon as she saw me, it was like a resentful female ghost. Lucas sat in the driver's seat and coldly uttered 2 words, "Speak." Megan trembled, like a shivering little chick, and started to stammer out words. "Alyssa, I'm sorry. I was the one who put Lucas's phone on silent and deleted the call log. I also secretly took the photo for the social media post." Lucas only dropped me off at the subway station and then left. I didn't speak. Megan finally couldn't hold back her tears and cried. "I only did this to avoid being sent to remote areas for projects. I've had a hard time too, ever since you left. My good days have come to an end. All the tough, exhausting, and thankless tasks in the company have fallen on me. I'm begging you, please forgive him." He said, "If you don't forgive him, he'll send me to that godforsaken place in South Africa." Megan held my hand and cried as if her heart were breaking into 1,000 pieces. "Poor me, at such a young age. My future will be spent wandering abroad. I might even get shot for no reason while walking down the street." I looked at her swollen, red eyes and felt genuinely sorry for her. I couldn't help but comfort her, saying, all right, stop crying. I forgive you." Megan instantly stopped her tears. I clicked my tongue in disbelief. It's a shame she doesn't pursue acting. Her skills are wasted outside the entertainment industry. Megan sniffled toward the driver's seat and said pitifully, "I've completed the task. What about the assignment to Africa? You don't have to go." Hearing this, Megan seemed to have been given reassurance. Without hesitation, she immediately opened the door and got out of the car, disappearing in the blink of an eye as if a demon were chasing her inside the vehicle. Lucas explained to me that he had no relationship with Megan and even brought her to clarify things in front of me. It would be a lie to say I wasn't moved. Lucas started the car and looked straight ahead, not even glancing at me out of the corner of his eye. Along the way, I tried to speak several times, but was deterred by Chen Yan's expression that kept everyone at a distance. The scenery outside the window grew increasingly familiar, and we eventually stopped at that same suburban area from back then. I followed Lucas along a long stretch of greenery and arrived at the entrance of a low, small cottage. Lucas skillfully took the keys out of his pocket and opened the door, and I followed him inside. Everything here remained exactly as it was before. Even the bed sheets were still the pinkish-gray ones we had chosen together, though they had faded a bit from washing. Lucas took a can of cola from the refrigerator, sat on the sofa, and took a few sips. He then lit a cigarette. I moved to the edge of the bed and sat down, quietly watching him drink his cola. His face hadn't changed at all from before, perhaps because he rarely smiled. His lips were pressed into a straight line, exuding an aloof and distant aristocratic aura, for some reason. Seeing him so familiar in this familiar room, a long-lost warmth welled up in my heart. It felt as if even the bed sheets were warm and cozy. I suddenly froze for a moment. Wait, something doesn't seem right. My stomach feels a bit strange. I abruptly sat up, and sure enough, there was a bright red stain on the bedsheet. Lucas noticed my movement and looked over. His hand, holding the cola, paused, and his face flushed red before turning pale. Looking at his expression, I mustered up the courage and said, "I didn't prepare that." Lucas frowned. Which one? I was speechless, as if suddenly realizing something. His expression stiffened. He put out his cigarette and, after a moment of confusion, asked, "You're not expecting me to go buy it, are you?" I didn't say anything, just crouched on the ground, holding my stomach, and looked at him. Lucas glared at me for a few seconds before finally giving in, stomping off angrily as he changed his shoes and left. The nearest supermarket was still quite far from here. I looked down from the windowsill and saw Lucas jogging all the way. The night breeze lifted his hair, making him look exceptionally gentle and youthful. 20 minutes later, having already changed my clothes, I lay on the sofa watching him bustle about. He changed the bedsheets, did the laundry, and then went to the kitchen to bring me a cup of ginger cola with brown sugar. Happily taking it, I took a sip, and wow! The overwhelming spicy flavor made me instinctively furrow my brows. "I don't want ginger, no ginger," Lucas teased me by tickling me, pretending to frown and letting out a snort. "Ha ha ha, all right, I give up, I'll drink it." In the end, under Lucas's stern supervision, I was forced to finish that bowl of ginger tea cola. After drinking it, my mouth was filled with a spicy taste, and my stomach churned. I really wanted to vomit. "Ah, open your mouth." I instinctively opened my mouth in response. The next second, a cool candy was placed in my mouth. With a gentle press, a faint strawberry flavor spread throughout, instantly masking the taste of ginger. I suddenly grabbed his arm, looked up at him, and said, "I'm sorry." He lowered his head and stared into my eyes, speaking each word with utmost seriousness. "Sorry for what? Everything? All right, then I have to ask you, what exactly have I done to make you feel so insecure? Are you so convinced that I would fall for Megan?" His eyes reflected clear pain and helplessness. He did nothing wrong, I was the one at fault, yet in the end, I still doubted his sincerity because of this and believed he would change his heart. "It's not your fault." My eyes were unbearably sore, and my throat felt as if something were stuck in it. "It's that I don't believe in myself. I don't believe I can be liked by someone like you." Lucas let out an exasperated laugh. "You think you don't deserve to be liked by me? Then why did you sleep with me that night, huh?" The emotions I had carefully built up were shattered by his words, and I could no longer cry. My tears hung on my eyelashes, refusing to fall, as I just stared at him. He snorted coldly again. "Didn't you see what netizens say? A man who doesn't love himself is like rotten cabbage. Do you want me to become rotten cabbage for the rest of my life?" I glared at him resentfully for a while, then reached out and wrapped my arms around his waist, wiping my tears and snot all over him. Lucas lifted the hem of his shirt disdainfully to wipe my tears. "Stop crying, you look hideous when you cry." His body had a beautiful curve, with a layer of lean muscle covering his stomach, making it look unusually enticing. I couldn't help but quietly place my hand on it and rub. Lucas couldn't take it anymore and pulled my hand down, wrapped me up in the blanket, and then held me tight. "Just behave yourself at a time like this, go to sleep." The next morning, I accompanied Lucas to work with great interest. My colleagues were all excited that I had finally returned, and they secretly complained that after I left, the boss had been moody and unpredictable. I chuckled and assured them it wouldn't happen again. He worked while I lay beside him, eating chips and watching Korean dramas. At noon, the assistant came in to ask what he wanted to eat. Without looking up, he gestured toward me with his chin and said, "She'll decide." Only then did the assistant notice there was someone else lying on the sofa nearby. I looked up at Lucas with a sweet smile and said, "Then I'll have you join me for hot pot in the office." The secretary, upon seeing my face, was so startled that his mouth opened and closed repeatedly, but he couldn't utter a single word for a long time. Lucas looked at me with adoration and said, "All right, then we'll have hot pot." With that, he turned to the secretary and cleared his throat. "What are you spacing out for?" The secretary finally snapped out of it and hurriedly nodded before going out to make the arrangements. I stood up, walked over, and sat on his lap, wrapping my arms around his neck and swaying gently. "You're the best, honey." After the meal, Lucas took me to see the new home. The rental apartment had always been the place where he waited for me. Over the past 2 years, his career had really taken off, and he had prepared a new 2-story duplex apartment to give to me. Coincidentally, my variety show started airing, and Lucas watched it with me, complaining about how all the men in it were no good. With just one solid block of abs, he has the nerve to take off his shirt. "What kind of acting is this?" How can he even be an actor? Why does he keep staring at you? Send him to Korea for an eye surgery. Are you jealous? I said with a laugh. Yeah, I am jealous, and I'm not the kind that can be easily comforted, he said with a proud tone. We slowly moved closer and kissed, completely unaware of the paparazzi outside the window. The next day, we made it to the top of the trending headlines. I was caught kissing him by the window and it went viral. With everyone accusing me of being a heartless playboy, things spiraled out of control. My agent Jane came to see me, worried that I might become a tarnished celebrity. About 20 minutes later, 2 more new social media posts made it to the hot search list. SC Group's official social media account released a statement. First, they acknowledged the relationship between their CEO and the famous actress, detailing Lucas's entrepreneurial journey and expressing gratitude to his girlfriend Alyssa, who has always been by his side. Then, they sharply criticized the unethical paparazzi and stated that they would pursue legal action against those spreading rumors. The 9-square grid below was filled with photos of me and Lucas. Both Lucas and I clarified on social media at the same time, it has always been each other. Damn, what a comeback. The trending searches are now flooded with congratulations for the two of us. Another month passed, and one of my dramas became a huge hit. During the award ceremony, I publicly confessed my feelings for Lucas. Lucas was sitting below, smiling at me. The two of them are trending again. This time, it's all about urging them to get married. After hearing the 2 stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.